And so for us, it's very important to be here to interact with colleagues because we share many of the same issues. So for us, it's really to show solidarity, to demonstrate that the Caribbean and African issues are very similar. We are connected through the Atlantic Ocean. We're connected in terms of our history. We're connected in terms of our shared culture. And so for us being here, it's really an opportunity to reconnect and to strengthen those particular roots that we have here in Africa. And so we take the South-South and the idea of South-South cooperation very seriously. For far too long, our people and our countries have looked north for development. Now we're beginning to see more and more that there's good value in looking to Africa and to try and develop relationships with very good nations here in Africa, nations that are emerging and developing. And as I said, we do share some similar challenges, climate change, energy, and those types of issues which happen here on the continent also affect us. So at a forum like Crans-Montana, we feel it's an excellent opportunity to engage.
We heard a lot about the Pacific states that seem to be condemned to disappear with the global warming and the rise of sea level. What about the Caribbean island? How is this problematic?
Climate change for us in the Caribbean, as it is in the Pacific, is not just an academic debate anymore. It really presents for us an existential threat. It presents for us the threat of disappearing altogether. And so entire civilizations, entire peoples can be lost because our land is lost. Just last year in the Caribbean, the world was riveted because we had, of course, the passage of Hurricanes Irma and Maria in the space of a week, 10 days apart. In the case of Irma, the most powerful storm ever recorded in the history of storms in the Atlantic. That says to us that we have a serious problem, and for those who may still continue to deny or suggest that this is a hoax or it doesn't really exist, sometimes it's easy to say that because you're not in someone else's shoes. But to come and be in the Caribbean or in the Pacific, to experience what we experience, to see our coastlines being eroded, to experience droughts and then torrential rainfall which leads to flooding, to experience that in a hurricane which lasts sometimes less than 24 hours, we see 200–300% of our GDP wiped out, our bridges, our roads, our airports gone. And so we continue to raise our voices in forums such as this to indicate that the small island developing states, of which the Caribbean basin, stretching from, of course, Cuba in the north down to Guyana in the south, that this archipelago of islands needs and demands a special regime internationally. Just as the Pacific has made these representations, so too we have made these representations, because we think it's important that the world understands that the standard mechanisms, the standard criteria might not apply as they ought to in relation to us because of our very real vulnerability. We thought we made good progress with COP21 and the Paris Accord. We've since seen, of course, some of the politics intervene, but we think the world is on the right track in recognizing and moving us forward to a situation where us in the Caribbean, my children and grandchildren, can look forward to a future in our region.